Hi everybody, Jillian here for Illustrated Faith, and I have a brand new Bible journaling process video using the new Arise Devotional Kit. So today I'm going to be journaling in the Hidden session, and I'm really going to camp out on the Confess It prompt. So I'm using my Illustrating Bible in Matthew 6 today, and just want to give you the plan for what I plan to use today. I want to include as many paper pieces from the kit as I can, so I'm going to use a Bible with a wider margin. So an illustrating Bible would be great for this, an interleaved journaling Bible, a traveler's notebook entry would be great, plenty of space for recreating this entry if you'd like. So I plan to feature the frames from the kit, so I'll use some of the die cut frames, some of the frame stamps, and then inside my frame I plan on typing up my journaling on a piece of vellum. This sheet of vellum is left over from the Beloved Society Lent kit, and I have some extras, so this will be great to run through my typewriter, or you could write on it with like a slick writer pen or something. And then I'll also use some of the paper piece titles and then these really fun stars. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start by flipping through the paper frame so I can choose the one that I plan to put my journaling in, and then determine a color scheme because I plan on layering several of these together. So I'm really liking these cooler tones, the blues, the teals, purples. I just really like how these look together. So I'm going to use about 4 of them layered behind the frame that will contain my journaling. And so here I'm just figuring out how best they'll look on my page. I have an entry on the reverse of this page, and you can see a little bit of the shading from underneath it. So I considered, instead of stamping below the frames, just moving all of the frames down to the bottom of the page, but that didn't work with how I wanted to structure my title. So I will end up moving those guys back up. My title is going to be Seen in Secret. So I decided to use this really dark teal frame to house my journaling, and so I'm just putting the vellum underneath there and then drawing a box with a pencil around the inside of the frame so I know exactly how much room I have to type. Before I head on over to my typewriter, I'm going to stamp a couple frames from the stamp set using some inks that I have in coordinating colors. These are pigment inks, and I am just stamping them first so that they are the very first background layer. I didn't get a great stamp impression, so I'll go ahead and redo this. Typically I would just leave it, but because I wanted it to look like a frame, I decided to go back in a second time. And then I'll stamp up, or ink up rather, this purple frame and then rotate it 90 degrees so I can bring in some round elements too. And then I'm just going to take my tape runner and put a little bit of adhesive on each of the 4 sides of the frame and layer those up. I put just a bit of adhesive on there so I could reposition them as needed, and then this teal one will sit on top of there. There's a little bit of blank space up towards the top of my layered frame, so I'll put some washi tape in there for now, and then as the video goes on, I'll continue to fill up that space. And then I really wanted to bring some yellow up to the top, so I took this yellow frame and put only about 1/4 of it on the page and let it hang off. I trimmed off the excess, and you can bet I will save that for later. Now I have my journaling typed up, and instead of cutting directly on the line that I drew with my pencil, I'm going to cut around it. So there's a little bit of vellum for the adhesive that I plan to use to attach to the frame. So I'm using some foam adhesive because I want this frame, the one that has my journaling, to lift up off of the page. So I'm just trimming little rectangles of adhesive to put on each of the 4 sides of the frame, and then putting a little bit of roller adhesive on the vellum. I erased my pencil marks, and you can see there the vellum is attached to the foam adhesive, and then the adhesive from the vellum goes down to the paper. I wanted to use this die cut piece that said Seen as part of my title, and chose to pop that up on some foam adhesive also, so it's on the same level as the frame above it. And then I'll go ahead and work on the rest of my title. So I'm going to stamp out the word secret using these alpha outline stamps, and I'm going to work my way from the outer edge of the page in, just so that I have enough room to make sure the whole word fits, and then I'll go ahead and get my sticker down. So I am in Matthew 6. Janet says, when you are isolated and feel overlooked, you begin to question and doubt what God's calling is on your life. If God's purpose was for it all to be done in the secret place where He is the only one watching, would you choose it over the world's applause? And then she directs us to Matthew 6. Jesus starts off this section of the Sermon on the Mount beginning in verse 1 of chapter 6, saying, "Beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them, for then you will have no reward from your Father who is in heaven." In this section of the Sermon on the Mount, the word reward is used 9 times in these 2 short-ish chapters. And so that immediately makes my ears perk up. Anytime that something is repeated, I'm going to take note because it must be important, right? Jesus goes on to say, "And when you give, and when you pray, and when you fast, to do it in secret." He says, "And your Father who sees in secret will reward you." That phrase is repeated 3 times in this section of Scripture. So again, I'm going to take note of that. And all of this is concluded when Jesus talks about storing up our treasure in heaven versus storing it up on earth. He says, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." So he means by that, what we value drives our behavior, and how we act is determined by what we treasure. So this passage and this prompt in the devotional makes me inventory where I'm storing my treasure. Do I treasure the eternal reward from my Father or the fleeting and superficial reward that the world offers? My choice of treasure, the one that I pursue, because down in verse 24 Jesus says that I can only pursue one, will determine how I go about my day and ultimately my life. So that's what this page is about. That's what my journaling is typed up in that box. I added a tab up towards the top, just running one of the inside pieces from the frame die cut through my tab punch. I put some wordfetti up top that says "He knows," topped that off with a scallop stamp from the kit. And then I'll go ahead off camera and add a little bit more journaling down towards the bottom underneath my title. But for now, that is going to do it. You can see here that I drew a line, or a box rather, around the passage that I'm journaling. I added another star over there and noted that you, God, are the one who sees. Just like Hagar mentioned in Genesis 16, He is the one who sees. He sees in secret when no one else does. And He is certainly the one that I want to pursue. So that's going to do it for me. If you guys want to join us with the Arise Devotional Kit, it's not too late. I've got it linked down in the video description below for you. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.